It's a brand new day, but on the nation's security front, it feels like a brand new playbook. Well, Friday, yesterday, October 24, 2025, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu carried out what many are calling one of his boldest moves yet. Well, maybe apart from the subsidy removal for some persons. Some to say that, well, it wasn't necessarily the president who did that. That was budgeted for already. But yes, some say this is his boldest moves yet, which is a major shakeup of Nigeria's security leadership. In one swift announcement, the president replaced the chiefs of army staff, navy, and air force. And this signals not just a change of guard, but perhaps a change of direction. Well, out goes General Christopher Musa, the very vocal General Christopher Musa, and in comes General Olufemi Oluyede as Chief of Defense Staff. Major General Shaibu takes the reins from Major General Terud Lagbaja as Chief of Army Staff, and their Vice Marshal Aneke replaces their Vice Marshal H.B. Bubakar as Chief of Air Staff, while Rear Admiral Abbas steps in for Rear Admiral Ogala as Chief of Naval Staff. And interestingly, Major General Udende retains his post as Chief of Defense Intelligence. Now, here's what or where it gets interesting. Exactly, here's where things get interesting. This reshuffle didn't just drop from the blue. It comes amid a rising insecurity across parts of the country, from terrorism and banditry in the north to unrest in other regions of the country. But this follows weeks of rumors as well about a coup plot allegedly involving some senior officers. Rumors that were swiftly denied by both government and the military. Now, this timing, timing you say is everything. Some say this move to reshuffle the security cabinet may have been designed to restore confidence within the ranks, reinforce loyalty, and project stability to the public and the international community. But what does the law say about this, right? Under the Armed Forces Act, Cap 820, 2004, the President and Commander, as Commander-in-Chief, has the power to appoint and remove service chiefs. But those appointments are subject to confirmation by the National Assembly, and the law also provides that the terms of office are at the President's discretion, typically guided by merits, seniority, and national security priorities. So, to the security concern, political side of this, was this simply the lawful routine rotation or a strategic reset in response to internal tensions? And beyond the headlines, Nigerians are posing questions as well, which we'll be talking about today on the show. Well, Kingsley Bass is my name. Welcome to Homo Politicus. Today, let's talk about this reshuffling of the security cabinet of the president. Well, I'm joined today by one who understands the workings of security in this country. Yes, Dr. Kingsley Uzoma. He joins me virtually today. He's a security consultant. Many thanks for joining me today.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Kingsley.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining the conversation today on Homo Politicus. This Enterprise Television, or Kingsley Bass is my name. Good to have my namesake, Kingsley, Dr. Kingsley Uzoma, join me to talk about this. Well, Dr. Kingsley, a lot of questions by Nigerians today. They say, will this new team change the story on ground? Will the new chiefs bring a fresh approach to retired battlefront? Or are we witnessing a familiar cycle of change without real transformation? What's your take, regarding the president's reshuffling of the cabinet, especially as the president in his statements charged the new service chiefs to uphold professionalism, discipline, and unity in order to justify the trust placed in them? And Nigerians, are quite weary from years of insecurity, and they are watching closely. So let's get talking. What's your take? How did you receive the news of this reshuffling?
Well, for me, the news did not come to me as a shock or a surprise. And I'm sure a good number of Nigerians, and especially those in the security profession, Because for years it came first as a rumor, sometime a few days after the independence, following the arrival of the president from his holidays from Lagos here in Abuja, sometime around 6th, 5th, the second week, after the first security briefings, and some of us had that intel that this guy is gonna be shown the exit doors. That also followed with the rumor of the purported coup. Okay, and attempted, or maybe you better use the word that from the intelligence community, that there was some element of rumor, which the security, the military debunked, and also the political space, they denied it, and you don't expect them, neither will I even advise them to admit that something of such ever had its way, or some persons thought of it anyway whatsoever, because it's not going to be good on our political economy from the international space. Then at the local or regional level, is also not good for our economy if you admit such a rumor as having some element of truth. But again, there is the saying that in every rumor there are some elements of truth. That's for the Englishman. Then you bring it down to Africa and Nigeria, precisely where we believe a lot in spiritism. So we believe that the child that cried, that died this morning, was as a result of the winch that cried last night. So that being the case, so if such rumor happened away from the news that flies all through the internet, whereby we see bandits, terror group, we see them even attending wedding ceremonies where arms, and as if it's a normal, as if it's maybe it's a masquerade ceremony or festival. I don't know if you saw the video where you have some wanted bandits and all that. They were everywhere, and this happens before the radar. Let's not use the nose, but rather the radar of security agencies. Until date, nobody was killed or arrested, not until the success of 2 days ago or thereabout. It calls for question. So for the president to have shown a group of persons, the now former service chiefs, the exit door, and new ones on board, it's not really anything new, because he that is appointed will one day be disappointed. Okay, he that is approved today can tomorrow be disapproved. And for the guys who now see the exit door, glory be to God, because they are leaving the office of CDA, Chief of Army Staff, or there's different security formations, as haven't gotten to the highest or the apex of their career. They are notable persons in the society, and they need to enjoy their wealth. But like when you follow the trend, and also let me take it back to your own announcement, you made reference that the one who heads intelligence, was also retained. So that brings something closer to us from the lens of security analysis. If there was an intelligence that was attempted or possible plan, that certain elements of regiment lost some kind of coup, be it that it was discussed or something, then the intelligence antenna of the intelligence community got it. So that would have obviously that justifies the more reason why the heads of intelligence was also retained in his post. Then that's for the defense intelligence guy or what have you. Then the one of DSS is still there. Then that means well done, guys. You did a good job. But these other ones, yes, you worked, we appreciate you, but politically, we can no longer accommodate you and stuff like that.
Well,
so it depends on the school of thought you align with.
Well, it appears that this rumor, there's some truth to this rumor of a coup then. Yes, Dr. Kingsley?
Yeah, absolutely. It depends on the school of thought. But when you look at it objectively, okay, when you look at it objectively, there are some elements of truth. And again, if I take you back, which you can Google, for the very first time, the spokesperson of the president in the person of Bayo Onanoga during the speech, when he released this president's speech on for Democracy Day, that's October 1st precisely, for the October 1st speech, he made reference, he ended the statement as coming from State House, Dodam Barracks, Lagos. So that speaks volume. If you read that, if you read meaning into it, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's the very first time a statement of sort will be boldly issued from the State House, not State House Abuja, but State House Dodam Barracks, Lagos, which goes to say that the Dodam Barracks is an extension of the State House Abuja Villa. So the president can either operate technically either from Abuja or from Dodam Barracks in Lagos. That speaks volume from the lens of security analysis and political security, if you may tag it that way.
So let's talk about security challenges in the country. And in the face of things, it appears, okay, well, thank you to those leaving, and for you, incoming security chiefs and those retained, you want to do better. You know, the president charged them to do better. Do you think that this move, could mean greater security reform for this country beyond the political undercurrents that followed this? Could this, bring about some tactical, security reform? Would we see? Do you expect to see changes?
For me personally, I don't see anything new. It's the same. It's the same guys, the same people that are loyal to the same political elite. Nobody drives the way our nation, our political economy and security is configured. Everything revolves around the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So if the president said he wants to really end insecurity within the next 1 month, is 100% possible. If he gives the security this, for instance, let's say as at yesterday, he's now firm in uprooting banditry and all level of insecurity. I can assure you that these guys, these new service chiefs, in 3 months, they will bring banditry to the standstill. But it takes political will, because one, whatever action security agents take, they first of all look at the body language of the president. They consider the body language of governors, political elites, because it takes these political elites to appoint them as chief of army staff, inspector general of police, and what have you. So for me, from my opinion, most times their loyalty is not really to the constitution, but to their godfather. These godfathers are political elites, they are the president, but if the president wants to align to his oath of office and say, these guys is not mere rhetoric, I am engaging you to flush out banditry within the next 30 days, I can assure you these guys are capable to do that. But everything has to do with the political will. We hope there won't be sentiment on the part of the president being tactical about 2027 re-election. Hope there won't be issues of them invading a place like for instance, I'm happy that the chief of army staff is coming from somewhere in Kogi State. Okay, because Kogi has been a center of kidnapping. High level of kidnapping happens daily in Kogi State, with a good percentage of it going unreported. Okay, so maybe this guy can help flush out kidnapping, banditry across the northwest and what have you. Okay, while the Air Force, yes, a lot of groundwork has been done in the southeast. So now you having a southeasterner as the chief of air staff, from the same state that the one who exited from Navy also came from. So that should give some level of relief that, okay, on some of those forest states where you have elements of the unknown gunmen and what have you, where it seems difficult for the infantries or the ground troops to penetrate and flush out, that the air reconnaissance and what have you, the air troop using the air force as a support can really shell them and do good works in that area. That is good, that is fine and correct, but it boils down to political will of the president. It boils down to the governors and the senators admitting that indeed, yes, we want to really flush out insecurity. And I can assure you, be it external support in terms of the external sponsors of banditry and what have you, our military, our security personnel are capable, if given the marching order and the necessary support, they can take us out of this socio-political mayhem we found ourselves.
And yeah, many persons want to see soccer. We've seen in recent times a new group, which was even further mentioned by a governor from the north central part of the country. I think that was the that wasn't the Niger State governor. I think that was the it wasn't the Zamfara State governor who mentioned well, we've seen resurgence of the tax, or we've seen fresh the tax in Kwara State. We've seen in Kogi, as you've referenced as well. We've seen in some parts of Niger and Zamfara. But one of the governors did mention that a splinter group from the Lakurawa, group of terrorists have since the ones now operating there. What do you know about this? What can you tell Nigerians? And indeed, what must be done for Nigerians to finally feel safe in their country?
Well, you see, our country is a very funny nation in terms of politics, okay? So one is very, very careful, because the insecurity thing is actually tactical. Some school of thought is there on public domain that certain persons at different levels of government actually rose to power with the help of insecurity, okay? If the insecurities are not allowed to get to this level, certain persons would not smell the corridor of power, okay? That's number one. Number two, there are corporations both home here and abroad that are profiting heavily from this insecurity, and they wouldn't want it to end with ease. Then I have a friend who just conducted a secret research. And a few days ago, he was just sharing with me that he just discovered that, quote and unquote, the wives of generals are now super rich, opening businesses here and there. Does it mean that their money, they are now paying their wives as equivalent the way the husbands are paid or things? Then to end it all like a laughter, they say, oh, that also confirms that yes, these guys are being money is being mapped out, voted to wage the war against insecurity. The foot soldiers, the boys at the battlefield are really not the one gaining from it, okay? But rather is the top echelon that are benefiting, which you can see from the wives, from their dependents, and what have you. So it's really an issue. But again, those who watch over us while we sleep, if they are doing their work, I think there is nothing wrong in having them being adequately taken care of. From Kwara State to Kogi State to Plateau to Benue, Taraba, and what have you, and across several states of the Northwest. There is no day we don't record the issues. We must also admit that yes, it has reduced to a good extent in the last 1 or 2 months. But again, when you also come into a community residential areas here in Abuja and what have you, pockets of kidnappings are also taking place. And a good number of persons would prefer to pay ransom and not report it to the police or security agencies and maintain that. I remember even recently, to the greatest shock, one a contact I ran across somewhere. He's one of the security formations. The wife was kidnapped, and he paid a sum of 10 million within 2 days. I was like, you are of the operations department of one of the security agencies. I expect that, yes, even though ransom was paid or was advanced in that regard, it should be one of the tactics of getting access to these criminals to rule them. But the best he could do was just pay ransom, have access to the wife, and relocate from that neighborhood and things like that. So the psych is really not, if such could happen to those who should watch over us while we sleep, how much more what now becomes the faith of the ordinary citizen. So if the president has charged these new service chiefs with the mandate of high level of professionalism and flushing out banditry and criminality, let it be backed with action. Let it be pragmatic, not mere rhetoric or political gimmicks.
Well, we'll see how that goes. We'll continue to monitor development, especially the direction that the new service chiefs will take, and indeed the direction that security will take in the country. Hopefully, we see better security. It's not the first time a president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces will be rejigging his security cabinet. Well, former president, God rest his soul, late President Muhammadu Buhari did the same at some point, relieved the incumbent service chiefs of their duties and brought in new ones. Did that change things? That's the debatable, really. Some say it meant nothing. Others say, well, it did bring into the system some breath of fresh air. We'll see how things go with this. Will this indeed bring about the needed change that the Nigerians have been calling for? That time will tell. But yeah, I've been speaking with Dr. Kingsley Uzoma, security consultant, on this rejigging of the security architecture in the country by the president, and would, as mentioned, continue to follow development. Dr. Kingsley, I'd like to thank you so much for your time and indeed for sharing thoughts on the program today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate that. All right, that's the conversation today on Homo Politicals. Just before we go, a quick reminder of the changes as to the service chiefs in the country. The president yesterday, as announced by his spokesman, Bayo Ononuga, did make some changes to how things work in terms, or will work going forward in terms of security in the country. He did relieve some security chiefs of their job and appointed some, retained one, and if you like, retained two, if you may, and with a little bit of the portfolio change. And so let's go through the list again, just for your knowledge, so that you'd be informed of what's happening. Well, the president did relieve General Christopher Musa of his duties as the Chief of Defense Staff, and he was replaced by General Olufemi Oluyede. Major General Shaibu now takes the reins from Major General Tarud Lagbaja as Chief of Army Staff. And